Welcome back, everyone. Jackclone here. Today we'll be finishing up the two-part series of the building techniques. Last time we covered the Beaks two-layer ramp rush, the Nick A30 triangle 1x1, and we also covered the drop down. Today we will be covering the two other building techniques that I've listed, and there will also be a bonus building technique at the end of the video, so stay tuned. So the next building technique on the list is what I call a triangle 1x1 peak. Very simple and very efficient. I use this in pretty much every solo game I play. It's not as important in squads because gameplay is different. Same with duos. But you make a 1x1 and you literally just put a triangle piece over top of your 1x1. Go into edit mode, walk to the top of your staircase, and this allows you to see through the triangle. This is beneficial because you can see your enemies, get a head count, get positioning, all that good stuff without being exposed. Especially helpful end game when typically the players do have snipers and you're trying to figure out where everybody's at and you don't want to get sniped. When there's three players left, you don't want to be that one guy that pushes one guy and then you get third partied by the very last guy. This can be beneficial for that also, so you know where everybody's at, which will let you know if you have enough time to push that guy, kill him, and possibly heal if you need it. Now, when you're doing this, you don't want to have a floor piece because you won't be able to go into edit mode on your roof piece. And even if you do go into edit mode on your roof piece, it's not going to allow you to peek because of the floor. You can edit the floor, in any way you want. But this does obstruct vision. For most angles, when you edit three squares, you can see most things. But like this angle here is blocked off. So when I'm in a game, I literally just use the triangle. Now it does work the same for brick and steel and wood. They all three look the same. So for brick and metal, I'll show the examples here. Let these get fully built. So this is the brick fully built. It is the literally exact same thing. And then here, we almost have the metal fully built. And the metal's fully built. So as you can see, it's literally the exact same thing. The only thing that does change is like the gray shaded areas, but those don't even obstruct vision at all. So in order to change your positioning, because obviously you can't really see on the ground any other direction, you just edit your staircase to the way that you want to have the better view for. And you can edit your staircase in all four directions. So no matter which way you want to do it, you can edit your staircase that way. So this next building tip is very similar to the triangle 1x1 peak. This is what I call a ramp peak. It's super simple. I don't know if you've experimented with ramps or editing in any sort of fashion, but when you go into edit mode on a ramp, the ramp is pretty much invisible from both sides. It reminds me of the walls that they used to be before they made the update. So, and to use this in a practical use, you would go into 1x1, okay, and just do 3 walls. You want to leave at least one wall open so that way you have something to look through. As you can't look through a solid wall. This does work with a ramp or a pyramid piece. This depends on which one you prefer. So in an in-game scenario, what you would do is you would rotate your ramp backwards, so you're protected from all sides. I like to top mine with the roof piece at the top, which I'll show you here. As you can see, there's a roof piece at the top now. I like to top mine with the roof piece at the top. That way I'm covered from the top also. You can put a floor piece up there along with the pyramid, but I'll show you why I don't do that here in a second. So with this, same thing as a triangle peak. You just go into edit mode and you can see out. To make it a bit clearer, you would go ahead and get below your ramp here and edit out certain parts of the walls. So like right here, we would edit out these corners. That way when I go back into my peak, have a little bit more of an angle to look through. If you do use your ramp this way, however, you would typically want to cut off those corners and these corners. That way you can see out at those angles. Now this isn't the most, efficient way of doing it. I mean, you can still put a wall piece in front of you, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get these walls edited back down if you do get shot. But this definitely does give you a bigger point of view compared to the triangle 1x1 peak. Now earlier when I said I don't use a floor piece up here, it's because this takes out the triangle 1x1 peak. So you'd have to edit that floor piece or remove it completely in order to utilize the 1x1 peak. So here in this scenario, we can literally use both peaks at the same time. So you can see stuff further off in the distance, you can peek on top of a mountain, and you can come down here and get a different point of view. Both of these work really, really good together. Just the ramp peak takes a little longer to do. As you see, when I had to first set it up, it took me a little while because I had to know exactly which way I wanted my ramp to face, and I had to know which walls I wanted to take out. Now earlier when I said you can use a pyramid or a ramp with this, pyramid literally works the exact same way. So you just edit those ones, and you just edit through the pyramid, look that way. This one's a little better when you're peeking through the ramp because you can edit the pyramid a lot easier, and you can edit it in different ways. So in this case, you can go, pop that down real quick, take down your corners, and throw up your ramp really fast. And you can even have your pyramid back on top, how I keep mine. So in order to switch it, which direction you want your ramps, it's also easier because all you have to do is go to edit mode, reset your structure so all the squares are laying down, and then edit the opposite corners or the opposite squares of what you want. A lot easier to rotate compared to the staircase. Again, you will have to edit your side panels here, depending on the angle that you're trying to look at. But if you're trying to get some easy solo wins, this is definitely the way to do it because no one's going to be able to shoot you. The only way you will take damage is if someone's shooting you at an odd angle, like if they're from over here or over here, because even if you are, in your peak mode and you do start to get shot at from the front, you can throw a wall up, but this still does leave you vulnerable from that side and that side over here. And in that instance that you are getting shot from those angles, it will take a little bit of time to get that wall edited compared to just building a fresh wall. Fresh wall is super fast. Not impossible, just not as easy. So the last building technique on the list is one that I have personally made. I didn't see anybody else with it, so I figured I would share it with everybody. I do call it the triple layer ramp brush, which is what it is. The first thing you want to do is get your triangle piece and edit the two opposite squares to make it a ramp. I do use Builder Pro, so I don't typically use this ramp, but this is the only way that you can do this method. On top of that, you have to make sure that the structure you are doing it to is at least 3 stories. Here you can see that I have a 3-story and about a 3.5 story. Anything below 3 stories doesn't work, and I will show you why here in a second. So to start it off, you go to the position where you can put your makeshift ramp on the side of the base, just like that. You look up and you put a ramp on the second level, like this, and you go to about 3/4 the way up this ramp, and you can see through the cracks there's another structure. So you can put a third roof on the third level of the structure. So to do it slowly, you put one in front of you to walk on, one there, and you look up more, and this allows you to put another piece at the top. You do have to drag a little bit to get the very top one in, but when you do it faster, it works out a lot easier. And this is what it looks like when you're done. So there's one layer, one layer. I'm standing on the second and drop down to the third. Now this is mainly applicable when you are pushing a already made 1x1. Again, you have to make sure the opposite person is in the 3-story 1x1. But this offers you another layer of protection on top of the single layer that, or remotely single layer that you would have if you were doing the traditional 1x1. So if I'll show you here on this side. This way, you only have 2 layer or 1 layer of protection. You can flip around, you know, and shoot the opposing player, but this only gives you 1 layer of protection over your head. Doing it with the ramps, and you can do it in a quick fashion, as you can see here. You have an extra layer of protection. So here I will show you an example on a structure a little bit higher than that one. Works the same exact way. The hardest thing to do here is to time out when you need to turn around. But as you can see, works the same exact way on a structure that's not as high. It does take a little getting used to. You know, it's a little weird. I haven't got to mess around with it too much. I literally just made it specifically for this video, more or less. I was messing around and I was like, oh man, this is really awesome. You know, I want to show everybody this. And I couldn't hold in the excitement. I actually couldn't. So here you can see I was experimenting on how to do it on the side of a mountain. Again, getting 3 levels on the side of a mountain is really rough. So what I did end up doing was placing, see if I can find a good position to do it from here. This is like the best place. So pretty much all in all, I started off with these 2 walls here. I made a floor piece here, a floor piece here, and I made one here. This floor piece that I'm standing on now is acting as the very bottom layer. So it will work the exact same way from this position. You just gotta find the sweet spot here. And don't fall off the end. But here, I'll glide to the top of it here. There's probably a faster way to do it from the side of a mountain. I don't know it. So if you guys do figure out a faster way to do it off the side of a mountain, I would really appreciate it, because this would be phenomenal when trying to push somebody that has natural high ground. But like I said, I haven't figured that part out yet. I haven't got to mess around with it too much. But that is the triple layer ramp brush. And for the bonus technique, so I've seen a lot of videos on people trying to find the best way to cross Loot Lake. Though in Season 6 it did change, there are still parts of Loot Lake that are just too much to walk through normally, and they slow down your movement speed. I've seen everything from, you know, sideways ramps to actually just, you know, just running across regularly. I used to use pyramids, but the other day I came across this technique that is superb to all of them. So all you have to do is edit your triangle piece. You can edit either those 2 corners or these 2 corners. Preference is yours. And you simply place down a floor piece and that triangle piece right above you. So you literally just run through just like this. Now theoretically, it doesn't give you cover on every single side at that exact instant, but it does give you cover on every single side if you're running and doing it. So we'll start at the beginning, and I will show it in more of a slow motion type of fashion. So here, you're open on this corner and this corner, right? So if you go up another piece, if you get to this point, you will be covered on this far corner, and once you cross this, you'll be covered on this corner. So if you do it in a fast motion, such as this, theoretically you will be covered on every single side as long as you're moving in a fast manner. Now, one thing I am noticing here is that below it is placing an extra roof piece. That may be due to the angle of my screen here. Let me test something out. So you will have to be a little quick about it. And instantly switch off of that roof piece so you don't end up wasting mats building the piece underneath, because that piece is just not necessary. So when you are doing this, just make sure you're not staying on your roof piece too long, like holding it in, or else you will have one connected to the next piece. So like as soon as you get the roof piece, click back to your floor. That way you're not wasting any mats. And that concludes the building techniques. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys did enjoy the content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out my Twitch. I live stream every afternoon. And have a good day.